Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Computer Wednesday. In today's episode, we're gonna talk about video editing PC part 3, and today we're gonna focus on monitor. So let's dive right into it. Well, first you have to understand the importance of monitor is very simple. It is the only output device that you interact with all day long. So it is very important. Like, how does your footage look? Is it in focus? Is it out of focus? Is it bright enough? Is it exposed properly? All those things seriously rely on the fact that you have a monitor. So you can understand this is how you see. This is basically quote unquote your view into your footage. So it is very important. Now, if you have a good monitor, it will make a lot of difference. Not only your colors would be much more accurate, your editing would be, if it's good, if it's designed with certain features like strobing, blue light filters and all that, that will also allow you to edit for much longer. So there is a very serious benefit to investing into high-end monitors. And not to mention, while hard drives are like quote unquote consumables and SSDs are consumables, and processors generally run out of performance. Basically, they are not like they break down, they are simply like, dude, it's no longer processing enough. But your monitor can last for much longer than that. So you can generally go through 2 to 3 computer cycles before you end up a point whether your monitor is defective, or you have to be like, dude, now there is enough resolution in the market that I have to replace it. So monitor is a very long lasting investment. Some of the production studios, they may be using monitors that are like 10 years old or 12 years old. It's not unheard of. So monitor is a very long investment. So what to look for? Well, for video editing, it's rather easy. IPS only. Why not VA panel? VA panels are generally higher refresh rate. However, they achieve that with some compromises. One of those compromises is color accuracy and viewing angles. So you can compensate for that, or you can just use this better technology. Now, IPS, while being better, does have lower refresh rate. So you cannot go higher, like 120 or 240. But you don't have to. Basically, for video editing purpose, even if you are shooting something at, let's say, 120 frames per second, you're not gonna publish it at 120 frames per second. You're supposed to publish it at like 24 or 60. So in those sort of scenario, you can understand that you do not need very high refresh rate. So save your money on from that front. Now, color accuracy is very important. Now, this is your bread and butter. If you have good color calibration, awesome. If you don't, you can you can get a freelancing project. Hey, do this video editing. You did the editing and send the client is like, what the hell? Like every cutting, transition, everything is awesome, but why your colors are off? So color accuracy is very important. Now, generally there will be multiple quote unquote space and all that. No, don't focus on that too much because that will confuse you. The simple option is focus on delta. Now, delta simply means the difference between two factors. So they will say, like, if I'm sending blue, for this monitor to display blue, how close does it get? That will be described in 5% or 2%. Now, if delta is below 2%, awesome. If it's below 5%, okay, it's good enough. If it's around 10%, yeah, don't touch it for video editing. Like, again, it could be good panel, it could be more than good enough, but you have to calibrate it way too often, almost like a weekly thing. And even then you will have like drifting issues and on top of that, and it will always be a bit off. So go for higher calibration. Now, brightness is a very critical aspect, specifically if you are paying for HDR content. If you want to master content in HDR, you must have a HDR monitor to see in the first place. And HDR is very difficult to do, and not to mention the monitors that can true HDR, basically HDR 1000 specification that requires 1000 nit. Those are very difficult to do. Very few monitor on the planet can do that flat out. It's very expensive. So be aware of, many monitors will claim HDR. They cannot truly do HDR because they do not have 1000 nit, or they would need multiple other technologies like local area dimming and things of that nature to achieve full 1000 nit brightness. 600 is a good starting point. 800 is comfortable. 1000 is awesome. And your cheaper one will be generally 2 to 300. So that's the reality of it. Basically, you want color accuracy as high as possible. Generally 5% higher, like 5 to 2% is awesome. 10% you are like in drifting territories, is unwise to do. And brightness higher, like 300 is bare minimum for doing any meaningful work. And if you are above 500, awesome. If you are above basically 800, you are getting very close to actual full HDR. Now, matte finish is a very interesting thing. Many people don't prefer matte finish on their monitor simply because it reduces color contrast. The color no longer looks poppy. Now, the reason why people do that is simply because if you have matte finish, reflection from other light sources, basically light on your ceiling, light from the window and all that, those won't be as distracting. I have both of those monitors and I'm like flat out. Even though colors on my basically glossy monitor looks better, I cannot use this because I have lights everywhere. So flat out. Generally, matte finish is 99% of the time better choice. Again, if you can control the room where you are doing your video editing, it would be wise to go with glossy system. and VESA mount. Now this is a very critical investment, because many times you can get a very good high quality panel, because you have to understand this panel that you see, there are very few manufacturers from LG, Samsung and Panasonic and all that. There are very few manufacturers that makes the panel, but there are hundreds of monitor manufacturers. So what is happening is they're buying the panel and adding their own basically ingredients, basically your driving circuit. That's why same panel could be found in a company that is making you G-Sync monitor and other company that is without G-Sync, because it's not up to the panel, it's up to the driver circuit. Some same panel will have external adapter, some will have integrated one. So those things you have to understand that. So for that reason, you can, if you are clever enough, you are spending time enough in researching and all that, you can find very high quality panels, basically high quality stuff for very low price. Consequence, generally the low price is done by compromising on the physical architecture, which means you will get a bare minimum stand. Sometimes there is a very good ultra wide monitor for LG, full HD one, nothing fancy, but it is a ultra wide 21:9 and everything is good about it. It's nothing fancy, it's very cheap, but it's good. Here's the monitor stand is just a fixed stand. It does not even have tilt or anything like that. It's just fixed stand. Thankfully it has VESA mount, so you will find this needing VESA mount much often than you think. So please make sure that your monitor has VESA mount, because not only that, even if you are just buying one monitor, you can just bolt it onto your wall or have a stand that frees up your basically table area, which is very important. You want space, because video editing keyboards, video editing dock station, those are very big and heavy. So VESA mount is a really good addition. Thinner bezel is generally a required feature, because gaming monitor generally they make sure their bezels are much more thicker. Nowadays they are learning, so bezels are shrinking, but the production monitors come with very thin bezels, and it is desirable because you can mount 2 or 3 of them next to each other. So these are the physical criteria that you must look for. Now then the another aspect, especially if you are on a budget, do you really need multi-monitor setup? Short answer, yes. Flat out yes. Heck, I've been in 3D gaming industry for long enough, and here's the even from my institution to my actual companies, every Tom, Dick and Harry had dual monitor setup. Even in our homes we had dual monitor setup. You simply need it. Now again, can you do on a single monitor? Yes. Should you do it? Again, if you can't afford it, I can understand it, but if you can afford it, go with dual monitor setup. Flat out is tangibly better. Now what about just buying one ultra wide monitor like 21:9? It is available in very low prices nowadays, so it's an okay option. It's not the best option, but it's an okay option. It's better than let's say you simply can't afford dual system. I can understand that is a good compromise. And then there is this ultra wide monitor. For simplicity reason, you don't want basically 2 monitors. You don't want you want clean looks. Let's say you are making a freelancing of yourself, but people come to your actual office to see it. Having something like super ultra wide 32:9 will make a very great impression. People whoa, what the hell that is. So that kind of helps it. That's the reason many studios, even though in their background their actual editing is done on HPs and Dell, they are generally putting on the reception side, everything is Apple. So sometimes you could do something like that, so you can get 32:9. Side effect, they are idiotically expensive. Right now their price hasn't come down, but 21:9 has come down, and 21:9 has this another advantage, that it is cinema scope. So if you have seen any movie, you have downloaded any movie of the internet, you must have seen the black bars. You will not get that black bar in 21:9. So these are the quite simple solutions that you have to worry about. Now what about 4K? Now if you want to have 4K, please be above 40 inches. 40, I'm saying 30 inches. Below 30 inches, you can have a 4K monitor, and there are many monitors. You simply won't be able to utilize it. You have to be very close to it. So unless you want to do this all day, I would not advise that. Save your money. Either you try to get a big one, and this sort of setup you will find in Mumbai and other places where people who do video editing for a living, generally they have this kind of setup. They will have their whole video editing dock here, and they will have a display here. Generally it's projector. This is the only one I'm finding with monitor. Most of them are with projector based. So these are calibrated to the nth degree. They spend time, money, effort, everything to make sure this is absolutely calibrated, and they will always see the output here, not in these monitors. The output is always focused here. So if it looks good, okay, in this, awesome, everything is awesome. So multi-monitor, you need it absolutely. Ultra wide, okay, it's a good compromise. And super ultra wide, yeah, it physically removes 2 monitors for 1 monitor, but again, they are ludicrously expensive at this point in time. Now this is one of the aspects that experience for video editors will tell you flat out of the box, and if you are a novice, there is a very serious chance you will skip out on this and suffer because of it. calibration of the monitor is necessary. Think of it this way: if you see Avengers Endgame, I'm talking about the trailer. Let's say you are watching the trailer on this TV, it looks okay, but it looks good. You watch it in your AMOLED mobile, oh, now it looks good. You watch it on your computer, it looks good. Now here's the deal: if you are doing video editing yourself, if your monitor is not properly calibrated, it will look great in your monitor because that's how you are focusing. But the moment you bring the file into your TV, it's like, okay, why it's off. Then you see in your mobile, it's another time off. It's like, what the hell is happening? That's simply because think of this calibration as it's a line. It's perfectly calibrated. Again, nothing is perfectly calibrated. Think of it that way. There is a line that is perfectly calibrated. If you have perfect colors falling onto that line, and if your TV, basically be it LG, be it Samsung, be it Sony, they apply some extra butter and all that. So this line, you drift away from that. Now again, because your source was calibrated, you edited your video file in your properly calibrated sensor, your file was absolutely on the line. Because your TV extra drift, it drifted a little bit. Not too bad, still looks good. Now, let's say your mobile drifted in the other direction. Again, because you are drifting from the center line, you are drifting very little. But if your monitor was offset, this line is supposed to be, you were here and you drifted from here. So flat out your video will look ludicrously bad on different displays. That is why calibration is very important. Many people in like you can read on forums, especially on freelancing forums, it's like, dude, I gave this guy my video editing project. Editing was damn good, but holy crap, the color was bad. So that happens because if your monitor is not calibrated, you must be as close to the center line as possible. Because if you drift, their monitor may be drifted a bit more, and then you will be like, dude, I'm like, the blue looks like a green. So that happens. So every monitor is different, and when I mean every monitor, I truly mean every monitor. Basically, if I buy this same panel from LG, this same exact TV model, the another one would be different. So you have to understand that. That is why high-end monitors always come with calibration certificate, and you can see that. Like you buy two of them, they will be slightly apart, and sometimes they will be drastically apart. So every monitor, every panel is different, even on the same brand, even in the same model number. Now, higher quality panels that are used for like video editing, like that is specifically targeting those market, they drift very slowly because you have to understand this is the active part. Even in this TV, you are seeing things physically move. Those crystals are physically moving, so it does drift over time. So again, the command would be send red. The screen used to display red, but over time it started to show yellow. So that happens. So for that reason, calibration is a continual process. You have to always calibrate it. In many movie studios, like if they're gonna do the calibration, it's like every project. Basically, they started the project of whatever this movie, they will calibrate everything and then go again. Once the project is over, they will recalibrate it and then go again. So you have to understand it's a continual honing of the species, like a blade. You have to sharpen it again and again. So higher quality panels reflect, so you don't have to put too much effort, but again, it's a good advice. And generally it's said calibrate your displays at least once a year, at least. You will be quite surprised, especially if you have a poor panel or for some reason your panel is defective, it will drift dramatically. Like if you updated your profile, calibration profile, and it's too much difference, please update much more regularly because your panel is drifting. So is it worth the investment that you have to buy this Spider or Pro X or whatever? Like there are many companies that are doing this. Short answer, absolutely. Especially for colorist whose sole job is like take the footage, ungraded footage, take the footage that is from like Blackmagic or Red Epic and all that, and you have to grade that. If your color is off on your monitor, you did. Basically, your job is gone. So please invest some time in it. Rent these devices if you can't afford them. Trust me, you will thank me. So basically, calibrating the monitor is very important. Do it regularly. It's a tool that you must sharpen regularly. Once your color is close enough to that calibrated standard, every TV is gonna be like a little bit off, a little bit up plus, a little bit minus. It won't matter too much. But if your source was messed up, you did. So this was my presentation about monitors. I hope you liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I'd urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me your extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.